If you want to change your life for the better, you have to become a more authentic version of yourself. But even if you've already accepted that truth, there are a lot of traps that you can get caught in that can trip you up, exhaust you, and make you just feel lost. And usually those traps have a lot to do with your ego, because identification is the first part to breaking free and finally living a life that's authentically yours, because it feels better. You get into alignment and everything you want starts to fall into place. So recently I made a video on Pixar's Soul and how it's actually a message on escaping the ego trap. And I posted the micro version of that video on TikTok, and one of my lovely followers left a comment that said, "But what if I don't know what I'm chasing?" And babes, that's so valid. I didn't know how to answer. Now I think I know something that might help. So I'm going to describe 7 ego traps and what they look like, and you let me know if you feel like you fall into any of them more often than others. And then I'll tell you which ones I've been wrestling with at the end. Okay, let's dive in. Ego trap number 1. The achievement trap. When you're always chasing the next big thing. Falling into this trap looks like I'll relax when, I'll be happy when, I'll have peace when I get that degree, I get that promotion, I earn that raise. I'm stressed, I'm dissatisfied, I'm angry, but when I go viral or reach that milestone or get that house, that's when I'll be happy. That's when I deserve peace, and that's when I can relax. This trap is tricky because it leads to chronic dissatisfaction, because those achievements only offer you temporary fulfillment. If you constantly chase the next goal, thinking that at the end is when you deserve happiness, peace, and fulfillment, you will always find yourself empty and burnt out. You have to lean into the fact that you are worthy of feeling the happiness, peace, and fulfillment at every stage. Ego trap number 2, the social comparison trap. Falling into this trap looks like no matter what you do, have, or are, you're always comparing yourself to others or even past versions of yourself. Maybe you're scrolling and you're like, man, my relationship isn't like that IG couple's, or my career isn't where my parents was when they were this age, or maybe I don't have as many friends, or I don't have as many followers. This is super easy to do in this social media age, because you're not just like comparing yourself to Bob down the street or just your friends on Instagram. With TikTok, you can literally scroll and compare yourself to every 20-something, 30-something in your area. This trap is made to make you feel inadequate and lower your self-esteem without you even realizing. Oh my gosh, and I feel like this trap runs rampant on TikTok. Yeah, like I'm not TikTok pretty, or being like Doe pretty or Fox pretty. Well, I don't know the other ones, but you know, it's good to set goals, but you really don't have to live up to anybody's like successes or lifestyles, because when you do fall into that trap and get stuck in that trap, you sacrifice your uniqueness, and you can't change your life like that. Remember, authenticity. All right, ego trap number 3 is the perfectionism trap. You must be perfect in every sense of the word, at work, in your relationships, in your friendships, at home. You have to have the most perfectly designed house. You have to have perfectly behaved kids, perfectly behaved dogs. You have to look perfect, not a hair out of place. And in this pursuit of perfection, you end up setting extremely high standards for yourself, which is all fine and dandy until those standards become hard to maintain. And then when you don't find yourself living up to your own standards, you end up beating yourself up, or you procrastinate because you know when you do it, it won't be able to live up to that standard of perfection, or you're anxious because everything has to be perfect, or you know you'll fall into that depression, or you even burn out trying to keep all your balls in the air. This ego trap is a pretty big one when it comes to changing your life, because this one is the one that will keep you from trying new things or taking risks because you're afraid to fail. You're afraid to appear imperfect, and that fights authenticity. Ego trap number 4 is the validation trap. Falling into this trap looks like constantly needing external validation and approval outside of yourself. Maybe you're not the type to find yourself comparing yourself to other people, but you do from time to time, consciously or subconsciously, look for others' approval. Maybe you want to grow on TikTok, but your content's only getting 200 views each time. So you get mad, ignoring all the new followers you're gaining each week. Or you cannot wait to land that new job because you can't wait to tell everyone how much money you're going to be making. Or you even change your hair to something trendy, but it doesn't really fit you just because you want the compliments that come with it. In this trap, it becomes hard to change your life because now you're changing your behavior, your appearance, and your opinions just for the feedback. And that becomes a real problem when you're doing it at the expense of your authentic needs and wants, causing you to bit by bit lose pieces of your authentic identity, which in the end will cause you to have the approval, the compliments, the acknowledgement, but still feel empty or even just disconnected. You have to adopt the belief, I am the voice of my own approval. Ego trap number 5. The identity trap. Being stuck in this trap feels like being chained to only one identity. You're stuck as one particular role or label. Maybe you're the successful businesswoman, or you're just a really good daughter, or you're the fitness enthusiast. Being stuck in the identity trap will make you feel like you have to live up to this specific identity at all costs. This trap will stop you from changing your life because many people fear losing their sense of self. And so you will end up making your idea of yourself so thin, so tiny, that it will be suffocating. It will leave you not just not wanting to try anything new or risky or different, but afraid of it. And you definitely can't change your life that way. Ego trap number 6. This is the control trap. The one where you feel like you need to manage every single detail. Falling into this trap looks like needing to manage, control, micromanage every single aspect of your life out of fear that everything will fall apart if you don't. Maybe you micromanage your kid's schoolwork because if you don't, you have this fear that he's going to drop out of elementary school and run the streets. Or you micromanage your career and everyone under you because you have this fear that they won't give you that promotion if you don't. Or you micromanage every single way your partner communicates with you because in your mind, that's what a healthy relationship must look like. And if you don't, it's just doomed to fail. Being stuck in the control trap leads to high stress, really strained, tense relationships, and you won't be able to relax. It makes it really difficult to enjoy life because life is pretty unpredictable, and sometimes the changes that need to take place are far from what we could have imagined. So sometimes you have to let go of control and let what needs to happen so what changes need to take place can actually take place. Ego trap number 7 is the victim trap. Falling into this ego trap looks like becoming a victim of circumstance. This is where you're stuck in the trap, living with the sense that life is unfair, I'm powerless to change it, there's nothing I can do about it. Maybe that person broke up with you and you're like, I'll be single forever. Or maybe you just looked on the internet and you were like, being in a relationship is impossible these days. I'll never find anybody. Or at work, everyone in the C-suite is boxing me out. I'll never rise throughout the company under these conditions. There's nothing I can do. I'm stuck in this position. Being in the victim trap can stunt growth and stunt the process of changing your life because you're stuck in resentment and helplessness, which are two emotions that cause stagnancy. In that emotional state, you won't take responsibility, you won't move forward because you won't see a way out. It's like when I did that video on Inside Out, where if you are stuck with only access to certain emotions, it limits how many thoughts you can have, which will perpetuate that narrative in your head of blame and injustice. The big one here, though, is not denying that pain. It's about acknowledging that pain, but realizing that pain does not define you, where it doesn't matter what's happening to me or who's against me, I'm going to get it anyways. And reminding yourself that you are the creator of your narrative. All of these ego traps reflect the belief, I am not enough. And identifying them is the very first step in changing them. So that way you can actually start to change your life instead of looking for external validation or perfection or controlling everything around you. I'm getting some sunlight. Okay. All right. And the way to do that is embracing presence, because in your presence lies your authenticity. And this is when all the pieces of the puzzle start fitting together. This is the change that happens after you make the vision board for your new life, after you write down everything you want in your manifestation journal. This is the work that happens after. Speaking of vision boards, I have plenty of content on those. Just check them out right here. And if I had to choose the 2 ego traps that I'm prone to falling into, it would probably be the control trap and the perfection trap. I have Scorpio Virgo placements. Okay, let me know what yours are. And as always, I'm sending love and healing your way. Bye.